Hey, ladies. Thank you for joining us and listening in to our stories. My name is Andrea Stutton. I'm just going to start our call off. We want to just welcome you for being here. Thank you for listening to share our stories. We want to just share a little bit about what brought us to Plexus. We want to encourage you to just maybe take a second look at this industry, but specifically at our company, because we believe that Plexus is unique and stands out from all the others. And we have our reasons for thinking that. I just encourage you to just come to this call with an open mind, put your skepticism aside, and just listen to our stories. And I think some of you coming today, this very thing could be an answer to your prayers that you've had. And we know that because it was an answer to our prayers. So before I get started, I just want to say, each one of us has achieved one of the top three tiers of our company, which is we're considered jewels. And that's basically we're all six-figure earners. So just know that if we got here, you can get here. So I'm just going to start with just a little bit of my story first. So my name is Andrea Stutt, and I have a background as a registered nurse. I am a mama to seven sons. Yes, that's seven sons. I am a homeschool mom now. I've been married to my husband, Mike, for 25 years. I have no history with any kind of network marketing. I've never even considered it before Plexus. I've never even sold anything. So a lot of people think I can never sell anything. I've never been a salesperson. That's totally fine. Okay. You do not have to sell anything. I'm living proof of that. So when I came to Plexus, it was mainly because I had a health crisis. I was 43, just had my seventh baby. And as a researcher at heart, I knew gut health was pivotal in me finding healing with the issues I was having. And so when I started to research the company and research the ingredients, mind you, I didn't research Plexus on Google, because when you do that, you find basically nonsense, to be honest. But if you take the ingredients and break it down and discover why these products are helping people, it all makes sense. It's really just science, guys. And that's what I discovered. And so once I felt comfortable with the science behind the products, then I started to learn about the stories of other people who were finding success in their health, different health struggles. And that's, for me, was what convinced me to give it a shot, honestly. And so I came into Plexus with that skepticism that's very natural. Like, is this even going to work for me? What if it doesn't? I did think it was expensive at first, which I know is a very common concern. But what I found was, well, for one thing, the things that it was helping people with is very much affordable. But then also when I compared our products to other products on the market that are quality, and that maybe you may find at a doc, at a naturopath's office or things like that, they're quality products. Our products really are very affordable. And so that helped me to jump in. But then also, I realized like I needed supplementation. We hear all the time, like just eat right and exercise, right? And drink your water and all that. But the truth is our soil is depleted. We're not getting the nutrients we need through just our diet. And then the bottom line is we live busy lives. We have what we call 21st century stress. And as a busy mom, let's just be honest. Some days we don't get everything and we need. And so I knew I needed these supplements. I knew that we would find a way to afford them. I knew that we were going to give it 90 days because that's how long it takes to really give it time. And my husband and I did discuss, like, okay, here's our budget. Let's make a way for this to happen. But after 90 days, I knew I needed to have our products paid for. And so I just very casually mentioned to my friend who brought me to Plexus, Dory, I don't want to do the business, but I might have to get my products covered. She's like, that's no problem. You can do that. It really only takes a handful, maybe three friends or family. I was like, okay, I could do that. And so once I started to share, which was very organic, by the way, I didn't take lessons or I didn't ask for a script or anything. I just posted and just shared what I was doing and how it was helping me. And I cannot tell y'all how many messages I got from that one post. And that's when I quickly learned, not only did I understand gut health is key to so many issues, but there are people out there suffering silently. And so that helped me kind of like get over that fear of what would people think, or what if I post, what if someone thinks this or that. I thought, you know what? I care more about the people that I know. I care more about their health and how they're feeling. And it would be selfish, honestly, for me to keep this to myself because of that fear. And so I very organically continue to share. And one of the things I really do want to tell y'all is my first paycheck covered both mine and my husband's triplex combos. And that's when I realized this is a legitimate business. And so I started to research the compensation plan, and we decided to kind of jump in a little bit further because it seemed like it could really be an answer to prayers for our family. And my second goal was my second month goal was to earn enough for our 12 passenger van payment. And guess what? I earned it. And then my third goal for my third month was to earn enough for our house payment. And guess what? I earned it. And at that point, I realized that if I could do this business, anybody could do this business because I don't have a lot of time. Like I said, I stay home. I was homeschooling 7 boys. A lot of times people think I don't have time for business. You can make time for this because you can make it look however you want it to. So I just hope that my story, from that to now a 6-figure earner and the top of our company, would encourage you, because I'm a normal mom just like you are. So I would love for you to continue to listen to our stories, because I really do feel like something in each of our stories is going to resonate with you today. And I honestly, in my whole heart, believe that if you have a desire for change and you have a strong work ethic, you can absolutely succeed at this business. So I'm going to hand it over now to my friend Dory. Dory and I actually knew each other from a small Christian school that we both attended, but we barely knew each other. She was like 4 grades behind me, and I was graduating the year she was coming into high school, I think. And so all that to say is you never know how you're going to build this business. It's pretty cool how God weaves our stories. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, Dory Rogers. Thank you.
Thank you. I never get tired of hearing your story, and I just love the impact that this company and this business has had on so many people, not just us 4 sitting here, but so many people on our teams. It's just a beautiful ripple effect. And it's because we decided to get out of our comfort zone. We had a need. We were desperate, which is my story, which I will share, but I loved hearing Andrea share that she saw me sharing. And if I hadn't gotten over my fear of sharing, then she may not be where she is today. And I love that, because as women, don't we always just share what we love, right? And so when Andrea was talking about she's never done sales or network marketing, you don't have to. And, we don't want to be salespeople. We want to be sharers of our stories and offer hope to others. And so, like she said, my name is Dory Rogers. I have been with Plexus for 7 years, and I have a completely different story. So I actually came for the business. So back up a little bit. I, at the time, had been married to my husband for 17 years, and we had 3 kiddos, 15, 12, and 6. And the Lord had just called me to homeschooling. My husband had been self-employed for the majority of our marriage, which was hard. We definitely lived paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes robbing Peter to pay Paul. That kind of life. He worked for, at the time, doing marketing for small businesses. And so a lot of times they didn't pay us on time. So I would, be expecting a check on Friday, and we don't have a check. So, honey, how are we going to make it through the weekend? And so that's what I mean. We would just have to put it on a credit card. We didn't have any business doing that. And so we had tons of credit card debt. If you live that way, you understand. You stay up late at night, not worrying necessarily about your health. Although I had lots of health issues, I didn't know. I thought I was healthy. I was not. But I laid awake wondering how we're going to make ends meet. I'm tired of putting things on the credit card. The debt is just piling up. That is a lot of stress on you. That can come out, overflow on your children, right? When you're stressed out about things, then you react, negatively to your children, and it just has this negative ripple effect. And so just lots of pressure. I know he was doing his best to try to make ends meet. It was just the journey God had us on. And so I had been praying for years, Lord, is this really all there is for us? I know you've always come through and provided, and he always did. But, just praying that we wouldn't have to live so tight. If we, you know, it was feast or famine, just in a financial roller coaster. And so if we ever had a little extra, we put it right in savings. And then, you know, something would happen, our garage would break. And thankful for the provision, right? But Lord, I want more security. Like he's our security. I know that, and our provision. But I just was never in that place where I felt secure financially. And it's you start to feel like a failure as a parent, as a mom. Like, yes, my kids had all of their needs met, their food, we had a house, cars, but you know, do that extra stuff like dance, or if my kids had to have dental work or go to the eye doctor, those are the things that bothered me, because I'm like, man, they need to have this work done or they need to go to the eye doctor. And I just kept putting it off. And I just felt like it just makes you feel like you are not giving them the best. And that's not a good feeling. And having to take the calculator to the store and not getting all the things, or, you know, special treats that your kids want, stuff like that. And so, so at that time, you may be like me, I had a big X up against network marketing, because maybe you have been there too, but I had tried network marketing, not one time, but 2 times, and it didn't work for me. I definitely think it was a good experience. I think God used it as a stepping stone for me. But I was not interested. And I had been seeing about 5 of my friends, and my friend that I'm going to introduce next, who got me introduced to Plexus, she was sharing as well. Our boys did school together, but I had seen other friends from my church sharing Plexus. The products were just changing their families' lives. In fact, one of my friends has a daughter with cerebral palsy, and they had done everything, all the medications. Anyway, I won't go into her story, but basically she had searched the world and could not find, you know, help for her daughter with these problems that she was having. And Plexus changed that for them. And so, like, big time stories. And so I was like, well, that's good for them. But I'm healthy, and I definitely can't afford it. And like I said, we were just called to homeschool, and I was overwhelmed with that. I had seen my friends posting even about financially, they were talking about, you know, the business, and again, good for them, but doesn't work for me. Until I had a mindset shift, our perspective changed when in October 2014, I got a call from my husband, still remember it like it was yesterday. And he just said, honey, you know, this company, it was a company that was working for it. It was over half of our income was provided through them. You know, our whole income wasn't big first place, but this was over half of it. He was like, they have to let me go. They're changing some things up and they can't use me. And it just was, you know, dark cloud immediately. Like, Lord, here we go again. Why do we have to keep, you know, doing this? And just so hard. And I went to sleep that night, super heavy hearted, super burdened, just, you know, wondering how we're going to do it. And like I said, stay-at-home mom, never worked outside of the home since we had our first child. And that was a sacrifice we chose to make, which we don't regret that, although it was harder financially. And we found ourselves just, you know, what are we going to do? And I knew I couldn't go get a job because I had just been called to homeschool, and then I would have to find daycare for my kids, and we couldn't afford that. And so went to sleep that night very heavy hearted. And the Lord literally, I woke up 2 times in the middle of the night with just Plexus just heavy on my heart. And like I said, you guys, I had a big X up against that. I did not want anything to do with it. Didn't think I could do it. You know, who wants to continue to put yourself out there after you've tried multiple times and it doesn't work for you? And you're like, you don't want to do that. You felt rejected, and you don't. And so, but God knew what it would take to prick my heart and to, you know, gently, you know, push me out of the nest. And so I talked to my husband, and I was like, I just think this was the Lord. I mean, it was so random how I woke up twice and it was on my heart. And so we prayed about it and talked through it, and just decided to jump in. And December of 2014, I ordered my products. I started with the Triplex and X Factor vitamin, and I didn't have a story to tell because I hadn't tried product yet. And so I just started sharing other people's stories. And in the first month, I ranked up to the first position, which is silver, and just because immediately I had people like coming to me because you guys, everybody needs what we have in some form or fashion. And so I hit that first rank. And so I was able to pay for my products times 4. I think I made like a little over 400 that month. And then like Andrea, I just continued to set goals. I remember my next goal was to pay for my kids. They were part of the co-op, to pay for that, plus some other things. So I think it was like a 750 amount. And I think in my second or third month, I hit that, and I just continued to share and help other people on my team do the same thing. But I've never, not for one day, felt like I was selling something or pushing something. When something has changed your life so much, health-wise, in the first month, my health was completely, transformed. And financially, I just was like, wow, this is the real deal. Like, I cannot not share this. And so that's what I've done. And I've just helped others do the same. And it's just been such a gift and blessing. So I hope that you have resonated with just these 2 first stories. I know we have 2 other amazing ones to share, and we're glad you're here. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to pass it to my sweet friend, Michelle Harrell.
I love your story. I really love the fact that you share that you did it before and it didn't work. I mean, your skepticism was high. I remember well. So I love that you shared that, because I think that will resonate with people. Like she said, my name is Michelle. My name is Michelle Harrell. I live in McKinney, Texas, and my dream was to be a network marketer. Okay, that's not true. I never dreamed of being a network marketer, but it ended up being an answer that I didn't even know. And I just want to have you think, what if this was your answer? So before I share a little of my story, I want to share 6 things that I know myself, that all 4 of us love about what we're doing. So bear with me. Number 1, you can do it from your phone. You guys, you don't even have to have a laptop. I tend to do everything from my phone. Number 2, there's no big startup fee. You're basically paying for your own products, and $9.95 to join. Number 3, and this is a big one, especially in the times that we're living in, you employ yourself. You get to be your own boss. We all work together here, but I'm my own boss. There's no requirement for parties. There's no requirement for quotas. I don't have to build my own website. I don't have to ship out inventory. And the best thing for me, well, all of these are best things, but I don't have to take money from folks. I have just a link that I get to share with people, and they order directly and it gets sent to them. So you are your own boss, but it's in the best possible way. Number 4, flexibility. You've heard all of us, Andrea's got 7 kids, Dory had 3, they're both homeschooling. I had 2 when I started. My kids were in 6th grade and 8th grade. So for me, a lot of times working my business was sitting in that carpool line. And I could sit there for that half hour both ways and work in that carpool line. Maybe it's working on your lunch hour if you have another job, or whatever your schedule is. Maybe it's working after your kids go to bed. Or maybe you have a little bit more freedom, but you're just saying, you know what, I'm going to dedicate this 1 hour every day to working on the business of Plexus, of sharing. It's flexible, but it's intentional time that you get to set the win that works best for you. Number 5, you get to basically choose your income. And what I mean by that is you get to decide how much you want to work. You can work a lot more if you want to replace an income, if you have big lofty goals, or if you just want hobby money to pay for fun Friday afternoon treats for your kids, or vacation money, or dance classes, whatever that is. You get to choose the amount of time that you're putting into this. And number 6, and I did want to add this one in, Better Business Bureau, the BBB. If you are looking for a company to call home, I highly suggest you look at its BBB rating, because that to me is one of the most important things. I want the company that I'm working with to be reputable and solid. And Plexus has an A+, you guys. A+ with the BBB, the Better Business Bureau, it doesn't get higher than A+. So those are the 6 points I wanted to make. Now, did I know all of this when I started? Nope. I didn't know. I really didn't know any of that. I just knew that the health goals that I had, that I knew how my friend had benefited, and I wanted to try personally for myself. Now, I was skeptical, like Dory shared, and Andrea actually shared too. I think we were all skeptical coming in. So if you're skeptical, join the crowd. I watched for a number of months before I ever even reached out to my friend. My husband was self-employed in a field that took big hits when the economy was down, and I didn't want to take money out of our family budget. So when I did finally reach out and said, I want to try, I signed up knowing that if I shared with around 3 people who'd want to do this with me, that I could get my products paid for. Again, that wasn't building a business. That was just accommodating me being able to take the products that I knew that I wanted for myself. Now, many of you think that you have to have a health story before you could ever share something. I love that Dory shared that piece of it too. She didn't. I didn't either. I just shared with my small, very small at the time, Facebook page, what I started doing and that I was excited to see how it would go. And I invited anybody that wanted to try along with me to message me. Not one person commented on my Facebook post. But you guys, I started getting messages, private messages, or phone calls from people who had my actual number saying, you know, okay, I've heard of it or I've never heard of it. It went both ways, but they wanted to know more. And they started signing up to try along with me just after that very first post. And it continued to grow from there. It wasn't necessarily from folks that I would have thought either. I was hearing from people that it probably wouldn't have dawned on me that they would be the ones that would want to try with me. And it taught me real early on not to prejudge who actually needed the products. And the beauty of it is that the friends that joined me added friends of their own, and it built up. So remember, I just wanted to have my products paid for themselves. I never anticipated that the answer I was praying for my health would end up being the answer financially that I didn't even necessarily know to pray for. But it ended up being that too. The financial benefits at first were paying for my products, just like the other two have shared, giving enough for a family fun treat as well for that first month. I paid for products. We got to do something fun. We were on a very tight budget, guys, but we got to do something fun with some money. The second month, it was that plus, and I laugh that Dory used this term because I tend to use the term too. If we had needed tires that month, we didn't have to steal from Peter to pay Paul out of our budget, trying to figure out, okay, well, what can we shift around to do that? It took so much pressure off of our shoulders, so much stress to know that that money was there. So flash ahead. My son started college. We didn't have a college fund, guys. We lived on that college fund. But when he started college, we were able to pay for that without going into debt. And when the world changed in 2020 and my husband's profession stopped, like seriously, completely stopped for 10 months, our life didn't. I continued sharing health and hope from my phone. My business actually grew and our family didn't miss a beat financially. So while our stories are all different, they're very similar too. We found benefit with Plexus personally and just consistently shared what the products were doing for us and others. I love that we are our own boss, but we get to link arms as a team. And the one that I linked arms with is Melissa Shaver that you'll see here and get to hear her story from. I did not know Melissa except through Facebook, because when she friended my husband on Facebook, because they were been friends and they're singles at church, she friended him. She was kind enough to friend me too, out of respect. You never know who's going to end up hearing what you share and want to link arms. So from Facebook friends / strangers to very good friends, I would like to introduce Melissa Shaver.
Thank you so much. I have loved this. The thing that we hope that as you listen to this, that you hear, see, and know is the four of us did not even know each other before this business. There were some connectors. Well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't know the other three. They knew each other in little small ways that you've heard. But for me, looking at these three women and hearing their stories and knowing the journey that we've been able to do together to encourage, to support, I've seen incredible growth, all these different things. It's because I knew a person who married a woman who it's because of him that she and I even connected, and then the rest of this connection happened. That to me is so magnificent, because I think whenever we get into anything like this, we think we have to have it all. We think we have to know it all, know the people, know every answer, know how to sell, all these things. And it's just not true. There's so many things that we limit ourselves in because of our belief that is an incorrect belief. And I love some of the things that Michelle just shared about, she shared it, Dory alluded to it, like that their budgets were tight. And I'm sitting here thinking about my story, and my first thought to that was, isn't everyone's budget tight? It's all relevant to just who we are. Money is needed no matter what. Like, I listen to that and I think, man, my budget was tight too, like really tight, but my situation looked so different. But it goes to understanding that even so often we judge people thinking maybe this business is for them or isn't for them, and we look at the financial piece, whenever honestly all of us who live in America need more money. It's expensive to live. It is expensive to raise up children. In where we are today, in today's world, everything's only raising. And so I am so grateful that we are blessed with an opportunity like this that is handed to us. And like Michelle said, it was an answered prayer that we don't even know to pray. And so that might be you. This might be an awakening to you of, oh my goodness, like this could be it. I know that that's where I was in my story. And I just want to share a little bit of just my business story with you real quick, because whenever I started this business, I started Plexus for the products. I had incredible health issues, 4 autoimmune disorders, chronic severe pain. You would have never known it if you looked at me, because I ran triathlons at the time. I ate clean because I had to eat clean with some of my health concerns. Like, I did all the textbook right things, but my body was not right. It was not in alignment, and I couldn't figure out why. So that's what introduced me to this magnificent company. But when I started the business was intentional. Now, I will say there were a lot of times that I'd say, are you sure, God? Because it was not the model that I grew up on of what traditional work looked like. You've heard from these women, and we have such different backgrounds, but I was kind of mentored, if you will. I was raised up to live in corporate America. I was raised up to be educated, to continue education, to continue to build myself up, to go up a ladder of corporate America. And I knew how to do that well. And it honestly almost killed me. It took away a lot of my life. And so this decision was very intentional. And at the time, I was an executive director of a nonprofit. I'd been in corporate America since I graduated from college, and I knew going into college that when I came out, I would start up the ranks. And because that was the American dream. I mean, right? Like that's what I had always been told, that that's what you did. And it's all I knew was to go that route and to grow and to promote. And so when this opportunity was presented to me, I was not only working full time, which for me meant at least 60 hours a week, but I was also ghostwriting. And so one thing that you heard Michelle say was, you know, you can do this. I think she kind of said, alluded towards like hobby money, to where like you can pay for kids' sports or, you know, kids doing certain things or having ice cream after school or those types of deals, or you can have a 6-figure income like the 4 of us have. Like everyone gets to choose. That's the great thing about this, is that you have the option of, you know, what you want to do. And so for me, I had an executive salary, but I also was having to ghostwrite. I just want that to be so clear of the magnitude of all of us, where we live, how we live, what needs that there are. And so I needed to ghostwrite to make that extra money. And that extra money was my hobby money, I guess. And it was, you know, to pay for kids' sports, to pay to have margin in our budget, to be able to let my kiddos go buy, you know, an outfit and things like that. Like we were pretty tight, and yet we had 2 salaries in our home at the time. And so it was very intentional. And even though that I knew, for me, literally, this was an answer to prayer, but, you know, looking at the compensation plan, it literally gave me the ability to have the income that I was accustomed to, but it went back. It gave me back my hours. It gave me back my flexibility. It gave me back my life that I had been so attached to surrendering and sacrificing for a salary. You know, I worked myself to death to get a promotion. I sacrificed my time with family to keep a job. And it sounds so harsh whenever I talk like that, but that was my model. And that is what I knew. And I won't go into all my little stories because we all have different stories, but to stay where I was in corporate America, which has its own ceiling, I had to do a lot that was, there were a lot of mornings and nights of me being out of town that I was in tears because I didn't put my babies to bed. I didn't get to give them breakfast in the morning. I didn't get to be at their school whenever they had birthday parties. And so this model that looks nothing like a traditional model that I've been so accustomed to was literally handed to me and was going to turn my little world upside down, or right side up, to be honest. And so it was such a big deal. But I, maybe like you, if you're sitting here listening to our stories, in my opinion, this business model was untrustworthy. You've heard network marketing, and you've heard, you know, what Dory shared, that she had tried it a couple of times and it wasn't for us. But for me, it wasn't, just because I only knew one model, and that was that traditional. And yes, I had done network marketing before. Whenever I was getting my master's degree, I was hoping it would pay for my tuition because it was really expensive. But it didn't work for me. And so, yeah, I did have kind of an X towards that. But it was me having to work out my issues with it. I judged network marketing. I judged the model, if you will. I keep saying the model, but everything has a business plan and a compensation plan. That's what I'm talking towards. Anytime that you say yes to taking a job, you are stepping into a specific business model that they are giving you a salary for hours, and you're saying yes to that. And you have to give those hours. It doesn't matter if your child has to go to a doctor's appointment. And so I'm talking about those types of business models. And for me, network marketing didn't look anything like what I had been used to. But because I judged it so harshly, I felt like that other people would judge me for stepping into this model. And so that was something that I had to work out. But this is what I learned. very quickly, and you've heard it shared here, is that as I began to share, I realized that the majority of my friends, my family, people who knew me in other connections, they needed this. They needed what I had to offer. They needed to be untraditional. They needed to have the science of these ingredients and the products and how they are formulated. They needed that for their health needs, because we all want quality of life. We all want to wake up and feel like we're human and that we're alive, and that we want to celebrate that. And so I started to realize once again that I had a belief that was completely uncredited in any way. And it was my own mindset that was in the way of the work that I needed to do and what God was calling me to do, and to be able to see that. So this business, this opportunity, and I will speak specifically to this company because not all companies are alike. But this company actually has allowed me to burst through, if you will, that corporate ceiling and those salary caps. You don't have a salary cap. You can make enough to take care of your products, which is exactly where I started this, was I needed to take care of paying for my products, and I wanted all my family. I wanted my mom on these products. I knew what it would do for her, but I knew that I would need to be able to take care of her. That's where I started, but it can take you all the way up to 6 and 7 figure income. That's your choice and the things that you want to do. So that was a piece for me that I hadn't fully thought through whenever I started this. I just knew that the compensation plan, if it did what it said it would do, which it does, it would take me, it would bring me back home, not ghostwriting, not giving up every weekend, so that I could be with my children, be with my husband. And then eventually it allowed me to just do this and to be able to minister and love and develop and care for clients in the way that I get to do today. So kind of like what Michelle was saying too, you know, this past year, going through the pandemic, going through what we have in the last 24 months, it's fascinating because both of our husbands, it was the same time period, which I didn't realize that, but we lost a salary in our household as well for 10 months. I think God knew that when he called each one of us into this business, and he might be calling you into this business and into this opportunity, he knows what's ahead of us in ways that we will never know. We don't have his knowledge on what our future looks like. And oftentimes he says, I've got an answer for you that you don't even know that you need to pray for. And that's what happened in our family. And we could literally live in peace and not fear, not concern, not anxiety of how we're going to buy gas or groceries. And I'm so grateful for that. So I wanted to share that with you. You know, in the beginning, I started this for me because I was so exhausted and tired and lethargic and in so much pain. But it turned into me having a desire to care for others. I started this business because my family had such magnificent needs. We also had kids going into college. It was the one space in our marriage that my husband and I did not fully agree in. And that was the finances of education and college. And it's hard. Finances is one of the number one reasons for divorce. And to know that once again, we were given an opportunity to be able to take care of out-of-state tuitions, private school tuitions, all those things, because of an opportunity that was not my traditional model. And so I want you to hear those things. It's become such a magnificent ministry business for me because of the way that we get to care for people. And so I hope that the things that you've heard as you've been with us, first of all, I hope that you hear our hearts, that we care and love for people. We really have a desire to change the atmosphere of families, their lives, their households. I think that it was Dory that said when she was talking that the stress that she had, like the way that we react to our children or our spouses or those that we love when we're sick or we're under stress or we have high anxiety, we know that this business opportunity as well as these products can change and impact the lives of families for generations to come. I hope you hear our passion in that. And so just as I close out, I first and foremost want to say thank you for being with us. I hope that you will stay incredibly curious. I hope that you have leaned into our stories and that you've seen yourself in some way, that you've resonated with the things that we've said. This is what I really encourage you to do. Ask questions of the person who shared this with you. They shared it because they love you. They shared it because they see potential in you, in your future with this business. There's character traits that you have that they know that you would be excellent at being able to do this type of an opportunity. So what I would say is go back to them, ask any questions. We're here to answer those questions. They're here to help you with those questions. But more than anything, we want to say to you that we're excited that you're going to be with us. We're here to support you, to encourage you, and to help you grow in your business. And again, Andrea, Michelle, Dory, I'm so glad that we got to be together. I'm so glad that we are in this together. And for each one of you, we are really excited to get to know you better. You guys have a great morning, evening, night, and we will see everyone soon.